You ever realize how the ones who seem to move on the quickest end up being the ones stuck in your head the most? It's strange, right? You'd assume that when someone goes radio silent, they'd just fade from your memory. But that's not how it works. What really lingers and what really pulls on someone's mind isn't the silence, it's the shift. The truth is, women don't miss your absence. They miss your energy, your vibe, the way your presence made them feel. So when you try to disappear thinking, I'll go no contact and she'll come running, you're kind of missing the whole point. She won't miss the quiet, she'll miss the upgrade. The man she starts to notice again, not because he wanted to be noticed, but because he stopped seeking validation altogether. Let me break down what actually makes her stop and rethink everything. Point one, stop explaining, start becoming. Real talk. If you ever catch yourself trying to explain your value to a woman, stop yourself right there. The second you go into convincing mode, you've already given up your power. Because when someone genuinely values you, they feel it. They don't need a speech. You don't need to write her paragraphs or send proof that you've changed. You need to become that change. Let your transformation speak louder than anything you could type out. Go silent, yes, but don't stay still. Grow. Let her sense something different in your aura. Let her notice the new smile, the new stride, the new posture of a man who's no longer stuck. And trust me, that shift hits harder than any "I've been working on myself" text ever could. Point two, stay rooted in your power. Here's the pattern. She pulls back, and guys start spiraling, obsessing, wondering what she's doing, who she's with, why she's distant. And just like that, boom, all their power, gone, handed away to someone who's not even present. Let me remind you, your power lives in your focus. You don't gain anything by chasing her energy. What you gain is command over yourself, your mission, your peace, by staying on track. Because when she realizes you're not stalking her page, not waiting on a text, not desperate for a sign, her mind starts racing. You didn't lose her, you just stopped orbiting her. That shift, that's the absence she truly feels. Not the silence, but the still focused presence you now walk with. That's power. Don't hand it over. Point three, let her feel the void while you're still in the room. Let me paint this scene. You don't need to dip. You don't need to ghost her to make a dramatic exit like you're starring in some emotional indie film. That's what guys driven by insecurity do. They vanish hoping someone will come looking. Nah, you stay right there. Stay in the same room, the same space, the same circle, but with a totally different energy. You're not cold, you're composed, you're not glancing her way, you're not chasing any reaction. You're simply there, laughing, present, alive, but none of it is directed at her anymore. And that hits way harder than absence, because she'll see you and feel something missing. She'll realize the presence, the attention, that emotional current she once felt from you. It's gone, and you didn't even leave. That's the kind of absence that's unforgettable. Point four, cut the invisible strings. Let's be honest. Blocking her, deleting the messages, unfollowing her, that's surface level. It looks like you're moving on. But if you're still lying there at 2 a.m. replaying convos in your head, still asking, what if you're not free? You're just pretending. Most men cut the physical ties but forget the mental ones. The emotional leash, that's the real thing to sever. You don't move forward by disappearing. You move forward by reclaiming your headspace. Stop watching her stories, not out of spite, but because you truly don't care anymore. Not with bitterness, but with peace. And that peace, that's what changes the game. That's what she'll feel before she ever notices you went quiet. Point five, don't just be unavailable, be unreachable. Let me break it down. Anybody can be unavailable. You can stop texting, ignore calls, dip off social media. But being unreachable, that's next level. Unavailable means she can't find you. Unreachable means even if she could, she still can't touch your peace, your confidence, your growth. She might still have your number, but the man attached to it, he's evolved. He doesn't live in that old version anymore. And that rattles her more than any ignored text ever will. When she realizes she can't spark a reaction, can't shake your vibe, she'll try harder. But not because you punished her, because you leveled up so far she doesn't even recognize who you are anymore. That's what gets in her head. Point six, you don't need to move on, just move up. Here's the thing, everyone says, just move on, find someone new. But what if it's not about replacing her? What if it's about upgrading you. This isn't about proving anything to her. It's about respecting your own potential. You grow your mindset, build your body, refine your circle, raise your standards, and suddenly she doesn't seem so big in the story anymore. Not because you hate her, but because your vision changed. You didn't lose her, you outgrew the version of yourself who needed her. And that's when she stops and thinks, wait, was that something rare? But by that time, you're already too far gone to care. Point 7. Silence without growth is just noise. This is where most guys mess up. They think silence alone will do the trick, like if they just disappear, she'll start missing them. But silence without substance, that's just dead air. You can't just stop talking and wait. That's not strength, that's passive hope. And hope without movement is just another form of neediness. But when your silence is backed by elevation, when you're building, transforming, becoming someone she never saw coming, that's when your silence speaks volumes. It's not that you vanished, it's that you became vibrant, focused, whole, and that's what sticks in her memory. The guy who didn't wait, the man who changed. So if there's one thing you carry with you from this, let it be this. You don't make her miss you by fading away. You make her miss you by becoming so full of life, so grounded in purpose, so locked into your own frequency, that she starts to question how she ever let that kind of energy walk out of her world. You don't manipulate, you don't chase, you become. Because the moment you stop hoping to be chosen and start choosing yourself, that's when everything starts shifting for her, for you, for real.